On an empty stretch of the Long Beach Peninsula,
there's a plastic bag. It's probably off a boat, I think.
Russ Lewis searches for lost memories.
And it comes in all shapes and forms. And
pieces of Japanese tsunami debris scattered across the beach.
There. And it's an ongoing process. Stuff keeps washing in as the days go by.
On March 11, 2011, a record 9.0 magnitude earthquake triggered a massive tsunami in northeastern Japan. This monster wall of water ravaged coastal towns and sent an estimated 5 million tons of debris floating out to sea.
Now here's something up ahead here. It might be a crab buoy.
Over the past year, Russ found an odd collection of tsunami debris, including everything from a large buoy.
These started washing in, and yeah, here's the...
to a mannequin head.
They came in with the styrofoam. Here's something that probably has a story to it. It's a little slipper to a child. I found a lot of shoes out there and slippers.
And tucked in the back of his garage, a brightly colored volleyball.
When I see that kind of stuff, I grab it and kind of hang on to it. Sometimes I hate to throw it away or something like that.
Like most tsunami debris, there's no explanation where it came from or what happened to its owner. This volleyball holds a mystery.
This has been on a long voyage, from a terrible disaster, and it finally made landfall on the other side of the Pacific Ocean in Washington State, and I was lucky enough to find it, and so let's send it back. Yeah, I'll present it to you.
Carry it there for you.
And so our journey begins.
Greatly appreciate that.
We travel more than 4,000 miles to Tokyo, Japan, in search of the volleyball's owner. To get to the tsunami-affected area, we have to drive north for another 8 hours across highways and mountain passes. When we finally get there, we discover a ghost of a town.
And it was just an ordinary city, it was. But everything has wiped out.
This is Rikuzen Takata.
Tsunami came just right to there, around the house.
It was literally wiped off the map. What used to be a bustling oceanside town is now a patchwork of empty, overgrown lots.
It's an incredible different change.
The tsunami reached 62 feet here in Rikuzen, Takata. The high water mark is that red arrow. This building, like most of town, was underwater.
I'm not going to explain to you now because I want you to see it.
Most of the buildings are gone. The few still standing appear frozen in time.
This is the building here on the right.
A haunting reminder of this deadly tsunami.
The first 4 floors, every single apartment is blown out, front and back. You can still see bedding. You can see clothing.
1,800 people died in Rikuzen, Takata. That's roughly 1 out of every 10 residents. Many of those who did survive this disaster live in temporary housing. 2 years later, cleanup crews are still sifting through debris.
Nothing about life here is simple or easy or pleasant. It is still very much an active disaster zone.
Even City Hall is a temporary box-like structure. The old building was destroyed. 1/3 of all city employees died in the tsunami. We meet the mayor in his makeshift office. He looks at our volleyball with a smile.
Yes.
It appears to have come from the local high school.
And indeed it says Takata High School.
Nice guess.
Yes.
After an epic journey across the ocean, this ball is that much closer to home. Could it be a ray of hope for a town that is surrounded by endless tragedy?
It's now a giant pile of earth.
Like much of Rikuzen, Takata, the high school no longer exists. It was decimated by a massive tsunami in March of 2011.
So this was Takata High School. It was a 4-story building with 2 gymnasiums over to the side.
One of the main classroom facilities.
This amateur video
You can see just complete destruction.
shows the physical damage to the school. The emotional scars are even more severe.
So all of this that we're going to walk through, this was school grounds.
The school has been torn down.
This is supposed to be the entrance to the high school.
We came here hoping to return a volleyball to Takata High School.
The entire community went to this high school.
After the tsunami debris made an incredible voyage across the Pacific Ocean. It washed ashore in Long Beach, Washington.
I mean, everything that was lost, we just assumed it was really lost. Nothing is supposed to come back, you know? And so, but I know, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. Yes, that's the beauty of this.
With nothing but a vacant field here, we head toward the makeshift high school. What used to be a short walk for students is now a 30-minute drive each way.
Whereas you used to be able to walk to it or, you know, bike to it. This is the high school here to the left.
When we arrive, we find there's some sense of normalcy here. The kids show no sign of the heartbreak they've had to endure. The hallways are lined with cards and letters. There are numerous reminders of this tragedy throughout Takata High School, but the most powerful tribute is one you'll never see. Photographs of the 22 students and one teacher that died, hanging in the principal's office. They asked no video be taken. Several students lost both parents in this tsunami, so this school is family.
This is Principal Yokota.
Oh, nice to meet you. Staff members are curious why we're here. Takata High School has already seen its fate reversed once before. Earlier this year, one of the school's marine science boats washed ashore in Crescent City, California. It too had been lost in the tsunami and then found.
This boat is a miracle. It survived and drifted at sea for 2 years. Things can survive after such a hardship. It will be very meaningful for the students. This will be a symbol and will encourage students for their future.
But we've come with another gift. This washed ashore in Washington State, Long Beach, Washington. This is Takata High School?
Yes.
The principal remarks how the ball still has water inside. Has water inside.
Water.
But it's in good shape. He looks forward to sharing it with students on the first day of school. It's a story he hopes will bring them inspiration. This ball has made a remarkable journey. I hope you'll take this ball.
Thank you.
I would like to say thank you to the person who found this.
This is footage earlier on when the earthquake has hit.
March 11th, 2011, 2:46 p.m. A massive earthquake strikes just off the coast of Japan. Within 3 minutes, emergency officials warn of a potential tsunami. Evacuation sirens go off in Rikuzen, Takata. Volunteer fire captain Yuichi Owada and his men are ready. They drill for this. After checking the tsunami gates along the seawall, the 49-year-old pulls out his smartphone and starts to document the rising water.
After starting the shooting this video,
One man can be seen escaping on his bicycle. Within minutes, the water reaches levels never seen before. At this point, did you really think it would be as big or even close to as big as it was?
never think of such big tsunami.
As the surge grows stronger and stronger,
So he can see the boat is floating up here.
about to come over a 30-foot seawall, Owada races to his fire truck and slams it in reverse.
Driving backwards to reaching to the major road.
You're driving the truck backwards. The man on the bicycle grabs on just in time.
If he didn't jump onto our fire engine, he would have lost his life.
Wow.
Captain Owada turns and speeds toward higher ground.
So when we are driving, it's already water has been go beyond the wall and chasing us.
He yells for his neighbors to escape.
So quick, run.
Turning back, Owada can see the town being destroyed. In the distance, homes explode as the tsunami crashes into them. Neighbors run for their lives, but many don't make it. Roughly 1,800 people would die in Rikuzen Takata, including 44 firefighters.
全然そういうものは来るっていうふうに思ってないから。
Because can't imagine that such a massive disaster hit you straight right now.
心の構えがない。
It's not ready for that.
More than 2 years later, the damage is still raw. This 30-foot seawall, made of reinforced concrete, is a stark reminder.
It's as if those giant concrete slabs were toys. Everywhere there are bags, they're replacing walls.
Government planners are debating how to rebuild and how much to rely on coastal fortification like seawalls.
How high is high enough? 30 feet wasn't high enough last time. Okay, you're gonna go 20 feet higher? Is that gonna be high enough?
In addition to the seawall, Rikuzen Takata was protected by 70,000 pine trees. It was created as a coastal barrier, but it didn't stop the tsunami. It didn't stand a chance.
All that remains is one lone pine. It stands as a symbol of hope
Oh yes,
and a reminder for future generations.
It's beautiful.
Tell people what happened in the past, and that is really important.
Kenji Satake from the University of Tokyo's Earthquake Research Institute says Japan is home to some of the most advanced earthquake detection and tsunami warning systems on Earth.
Without those warning or without those education, the casualty could have been much, much larger.
ここ閉めちゃっていいですか？
The fire captain believes the greater warning comes from Mother Nature. Owada says when the earth shakes on the coast, run.
So how do you convince people to drop everything and simply run to higher ground?
なので、
From the children's age, from the young, they should be taught, and they should learn it and they know it by heart.
Owada stresses know how to evacuate. Otherwise, these same tragedies might be repeated again.
Don't underestimate what's happening and just run.
As a fifth-generation fisherman, Katsuo Saito knows the sea. So when the earth shook on March 11, 2011, the 72-year-old recognized that a huge wall of water would soon follow.
As a child, I was told, once the tremor hit, you need to run away as high as possible.
Could he see the water here?
The fisherman watched from a bluff above Rikuzen Takata as the tsunami hit.
It's like a waterfall.
This amateur video shows water charging into a nearby bay. The tsunami washed away Saito's boat, the Sihow Maru. He figured it was the last he'd ever see of his boat.
Washed up Long Beach area.
But almost exactly 2 years later, Saito got word his 20-foot fishing boat had landed on a beach more than 4,000 miles away in Long Beach, Washington.
Boat looks like it was riding nose high.
It is so surprising how far it has traveled, all the way to the United States.
Amazingly, 5 fish were found living inside the boat. They'd hitched a ride. One of the big fish is now living in an aquarium in Seaside.
That fish came from here.
Saito didn't want the boat returned, so it was donated to the Columbia River Maritime Museum in Astoria,
Do you see the Japanese writing on it?
where the Sihow Maru is now on display.
Can't believe it could survive. Not only the tsunami, but, you know, the ride over.
Seeing that big of a hole, that had to be a challenge.
As most boat owners, you know, there's a special bond.
The museum asked that we share a couple remnants of the boat with Mr. Saito.
This is a bit of the chafing gear that attached the bow fender to the boat. This was attached at the stern.
Packaged it up.
We hope that our fisherman friend across the ocean will accept it as a humble gift and a thank you to him for allowing us to keep his boat here on its way to Japan.
Back in Japan, Mr. Saito got his first real look at the boat.
Oh, this is your boat?
We brought him photos of the Sihow Maru.
This is the day they found the boat.
It is so surprising how far it has traveled,
They also wanted me to share this with you.
Yeah, it's from the museum.
Yes, from the museum. These are pieces from your boat.
Yes, yes. We will put it into the shrine. Yes, yes.
Mr. Saito placed the remnants of the Sihow Maru in a room filled with the most important family heirlooms and treasures. It sits across from photos of deceased family members, including Saito's daughter. She died in the tsunami. Saito and his wife walked for 3 days over broken roads to a nearby town to locate and recover her body. It's a painful loss. But after months of darkness, there is new light, inspiration from the Sihow Maru.
I've been using this boat for more than a decade. I love this boat. It survived, so should I.
Katsuo Saito knows the strength of the sea. He also understands the power of the human spirit. Kyle Iboshi.
This boat is a miracle.
KGW News Channel 8.
This was a sea of debris.
Whole this area was covered by full of debris.
Twisted and mangled cars and buses and bicycles and motorcycles and trees and telephone wires.
The March 2011 tsunami took dead aim on Rikuzen Takata. It leveled town, destroying nearly 4,000 buildings and countless homes.
So if it wasn't made of steel and concrete, it simply did not survive. That pile of debris to the left, you can still see really large pieces of bedding and mattresses.
More than 2 years later,
we're still separating out.
Cleanup continues. 7 days a week, workers sift through mountains of rubble
to get the big pieces of debris out.
Part of this town remains floating at sea.
There were people living here, working here.
It washed away.
And that's not the way it's supposed to be.
And is heading our way. Scientists estimate in total, roughly 1.5 million tons of Japanese tsunami debris is now drifting in the Pacific Ocean. Computer models show that lighter pieces affected by the wind move faster. Already, thousands of items, likely from the tsunami, have washed ashore in the U.S. and Canada. But how much is still to come? To find out, we travel to Washington, D.C., where government scientists are monitoring tsunami debris.
There's potentially a lot that's still to come. We just don't know. This is a model of where...
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, estimates the largest concentration of tsunami debris is floating between Hawaii and the U.S. West Coast. Scientists don't know exactly where it will land or when. Some may never wash ashore.
You know, in the old days, people would throw messages in a bottle, and you never knew where they were going to come. And that's kind of what we're dealing with here, just on a really large scale.
Both the Japanese and U.S. governments set aside money to help with beach cleanup, but much of the work falls on volunteers like Russ Lewis.
And we'll just drive along picking up litter for the next 7 miles.
Potentially, the debris poses a risk to people, boaters, and the environment.
One thing, when the stuff comes ashore, it has a lot of marine growth on it. It's been out there for a couple of years, you know, coming this way. Here's something else that came in. There was a
It's a slow-moving mystery.
That's definitely from Japan. And
what will wash up next after a long and remarkable journey?
It's such a mystery out there as to why it comes in and when it does.
From Japan to the Pacific Northwest. Kyle Iboshi, KGW News Channel 8.